Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Didn't really have any outline or notes for this video. I'm just going to wing it off the top. It's something that I was feeling just based on, trying to push the implementation of the BAI structure and just the whole concept of us policing our communities and monitoring our communities and seeing the resistance that I'm getting to that concept. And so I wanted to, just address some things that I've been hearing from people, just to show that I'm not blind as to what is going on and can actually understand a lot of the points that they're making, even though I feel, well, you know what, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just say what I have to say. First, if we are going to, as Black African people, fix this problem, this perpetual problem that goes from generation to generation, we have to first acknowledge some key fundamental things. Number one, unless you agree that black people, black African people, are genetically inferior and are dysfunctional out of the womb, basically like in the ancestral realm, we're just dysfunctional, and when we come out of the womb, we're just as dysfunctional outside of the womb as we are in. If that's the premise that you accept, then we need to stop making these YouTube videos. We need to stop it with the pseudo-cultural pretensions. And we really need to give up all aspects of identity and culture and merge into invisibility with white folks. That's simple. Because that means that there's no hope. If we're dysfunctional out of the womb, then there's no hope. And why are you fighting? Just give up. Be an imitation white person. I mean, you can't be a real white person, but you can try as hard as you can to be like them, so maybe your life will be a little bit easier in their society. Now, the flip side is, if you believe that individuals are dysfunctional based on the system or the construct that they live in, then you have to admit that what we are doing and the way that we're behaving can be changed. Now, it's either one or the other. Either you believe that it's genetic, which means that we shouldn't even be fighting. If black people are genetically engineered against being together and taking control of their community and having a nation, then what are we fighting for? What are we making YouTube videos for? What are we bitching and moaning and complaining about? Just be good niggas. Try to be the best white people you can be. Or if it's a structure that's producing, like my premise, the Negro manufacturing machine is producing these individuals, these dysfunctional behavior, then you have to admit that this shit can be changed. Now, the challenge is this. I'm not going to say who it was, but a brother sent me a PM, and he asked me a question. And I first of all, I want to say that I appreciate the PM that you sent me, and I appreciate the question that you asked. But there was one question that you asked me that got under my skin, and it's not you that I was pissed at. It was the concept, because when I thought about it, it really, really angered me. And you asked me about the BAI, and you asked me, what is the incentive to keep black folks who want to patrol their communities to keep doing it? You talk about a mind fuck. That question and the concept of that question completely mind fucked me. Because I'm saying I have to give you incentive to protect your women. I have to give you incentive to protect your children. And I got to give you incentive to protect your your elders and your community. And to keep your community safe, try to take care of your community as best as you can. I have to give you incentive to do that. Now, who am I speaking to when in regards to the BAI? Am I speaking to any old average ignorant Negro in the street? No. I'm speaking to the people who claim that they know what time it is. So if you claim that you know what time it is, and you are a soldier for your people, so to speak, why are you expecting me to give you incentive? What are you expecting outside of your own personal desire to see your people in a better position and to see your people protected that you need to be incentivized on? I mean, that I can't even wrap my mind around that. That I have to give a Negro incentive for them to do something for their community. If that's the case, then this is a wrap, y'all. This is a wrap. Because you ain't getting shit from me. What is my incentive for even thinking about half the shit that I come up with on YouTube? I mean, I'm living a pretty comfortable life. You know, I can turn this place that I'm in right now into a perpetual orgasm machine and have ass rolling up in here every single day. And fuck all of these issues, fuck all of this looking at things from a social, economic, and political viewpoint and trying to figure shit out in my spare time while I'm trying to provide food, clothing, and shelter for myself. What the fuck am I doing that for? What is my incentive for doing it? My incentive for doing it is my love of my fucking people. And that should be the only incentive that you need for you to get up off of your ass and organize with other people of like mind to do the same damn thing. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, if I got to give incentive to so-called African-centered people, if I got to give incentive to so-called conscious people who's supposed to know what fucking time it is, then why am I even doing this shit? Why are any of us engaged in these conversations? What, for intellectual, discourse? An intellectual exercise? I mean, I appreciate the brother for asking me that question because it sparks so much inside of me when I look at our situation. Let's look at the hardcore reality of where we are and what our situation is. You got Africans on the continent who don't see each other as Africans. If they come from Nigeria, they're Nigerian. If they come from Ghana, they're Ghanaian. They don't see African. Africa and African is a concept. It's a vision. It's a goal. But in reality, Africa is full of tribalism. And if you don't come from this particular place, they don't look at you as the same. Look no further in the Hutu and Tutsi bananas crap that was going on. Look no further than that. So, we don't have Africans on the continent who see each other as one people. Then we come to America, where we've been disconnected from Africa, trying to convince people that they are even African. I've been doing that for the last 2-3 years. And over here, we don't even have a connection to Africa, but also we don't have any spiritual connection as well. We Muslim, we Christian, we Hebrew, we 5%, we gods and earths, we Buddhists, we this, we that. We don't have no freaking solidarity spiritually. We're all over the place. I will say this. If we did have a spiritual bond, if we were on the page in spirituality, we would be able to do a lot legally in this society because they give you a lot of privileges for religion. That's why the Jews, even though Jews is not a religion, but hey, the Jews have managed to set up their shop and get away with a lot of things by producing themselves as religious people under the guise of religion. So that's what unites them. Actually, religion is not what unites them, but that's another story. I'll get into that later. But that's the situation we're dealing with. So there's no solidarity here in America amongst Africans in America, and there's no solidarity in Africa amongst Africans on the continent, and there's no solidarity between Africans in America and Africans on the continent. So that's the reality, the hardcore reality, the hard, cold reality of what we're facing. Now here we are with the BIA trying to connect with brothers and sisters in each state to start forming block associations and neighborhood patrol watches to look over their people because our people are dying wholesale and being killed wholesale. Now, am I expecting the ignorant black folks, the black folks who's not thinking about any of this stuff, who's not thinking about consciousness at all? They're just trying to think about how they can hustle and get the next dollar so they can, put some food on the table and some money in their pocket. Am I appealing to them? No. I'm appealing to the so-called conscious and the so-called African-centered people. And yet, I'm being asked, how can I provide incentive for these same African-centered people to do what the fuck they're supposed to be doing? My answer to that question is I have no incentive. I thought the love of your people and the love of your children and the love of your family and the love of your wife and the love of your elders was enough. But I'm naive, and I realize that even amongst the conscious people, even amongst the African-centered people, we just don't have no love for our people. There's absolutely no incentive for me to do what I do. I do not have to do these videos. I don't have to talk about this stuff. I can just get my money, I make pretty decent money, get my money, live my life. Like I said, turn this place into the ultimate bachelor pad or the perpetual orgasm machine and just nut myself until it's time to go into the grave. I choose to do what I do because I love my people, and I don't want a generation of babies to grow up thinking that they're second-class citizens. My goal is to have one generation, just one generation, that can grow up with right knowledge. One generation that can grow up in the proper environment. And let's see what happens. If I'm wrong and we're just genetically fucked up and we ain't gonna never be no good, that generation will fail. I'll look like a miserable fool and a failure, and this whole thing is a wrap. But I think if I'm right, that's worth the shot. And just on a personal level, I refuse to let bootlicking Negroes kill my spirit. I know about my culture, I know about my history, and I know where I come from. I know I come from strong stock. And no nigger, because they are too much of a coward to do what they have to do in their community and come together on a consistent basis and from now on. This ain't something that I want to build just because there's a police threat. This is something that we should be doing on an everyday basis, making sure that our communities are protected and safe and making sure that we have control, social, economic, and political control over our environment. This ain't no part-time gig. This is a full-time job. And if you want to know why I do it, take no further look than at the video that's the main video, the featured video on my channel, African Culture for Dummies. Because if Amos Wilson didn't sum it up for you, there's nothing else that I can say. But I know that I consider myself a representative of my people, and I want to rep my people as best as I can. And I want to love my people as best as I can. And I want the best for my people. I want the best for our babies. So if you're looking for incentive for you to do what you have to do, the BAI is not for you. And if every African-centered person and conscious person wants some incentive in order for them to do what they have to do, then we might as well end the BAI right now. And let's just go on to being the best Negroes that we can possibly be. And on that note, I'll holler at you good people later. Peace.